the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Salname Documentary Film Studios presents Haji Firuz, Takhti Suleiman, excavations, archaeological monuments of Kura Arak's culture, as well as 11 cultural layers discovered in the Azekh cave. In the second half of the 20th century, Azerbaijani archaeological and paleontological science has written a unique page in the archaeological literature of the world. Kayos Ateshka is considered to belong to the 17th and 19th centuries. The current temple, which has changed its appearance along the centuries by constant construction, was built by members of the North India community instead of the older one. A bending, pentangle-like inner yard is surrounded by a low, toothy wall. The entrance part is two-story. From the second floor, stairs lead straight to the altar. The flame is burning from a well in the middle of the rotunda in the inner yard. There are signs in Gurumukhi and Nagari, old Indian scripts, written on the stone walls of the temple. The scientists have deciphered approximately 30 of these signs. The oldest writing goes back to 1770, the latest one to 1883. A substantial part of the Azerbaijani architectural heritage is comprised of Christian monuments. Despite the fact that in early mid-centuries Azerbaijan Christianity coexisted with Zoroastrianism, it received the official religion status in the Caucasian Albania in the 4th century. The first apostolic stage of Christianity is the era of establishment of the religious architecture in Caucasian Albania. The oldest Albanian Christian monument in the South Caucasus is the Kish Temple in northeast Azerbaijan, in proximity of the city of Sheki. This temple is considered the mother of all Albanian churches. The church is built of limestone. The character of the laying and the simplicity of the decor show the antiquity of the building. A rectangle-shaped prayer hall is divided into two parts by a pair of pillars. One of the main elements of the church is a half-spherical apsidal sanctuary moved ahead from the hall. The side walls under the dome are triangularly sharpened. The sharpening on the outer side of the church gives a transept view to inexistent width of the inner side. This is the rare case in Albanian architecture and in Caucasian dome halls. The sacred Yelisei temple has passed through 2,000 years of history, from the small praying room with a tomb on the east side to the arched hall with projectile apsidal altar, and finally to the dome containing church with a drum and tent. The Great Silk Road, which existed from the 3rd century BC to the 13th century, and which was not just a trade route, but was also known as the road of religions, philosophical systems, political views, scientific achievements passed through Azerbaijan, which lay on the crossroads of Islam and Christianity. The emergence of the Silk Road resulted in the global-scale development of mankind. Mid-century Azerbaijan rapidly developed town building by entering an urbanized civilization system. Centuries-long town building traditions passed over through the generations created precious samples of Azerbaijani architectural culture. Sheki Khan Palace was constructed by architect Abbasoglu in 1762, and the front side of the palace constitutes a cell-plated balcony. One of the attractive moments is the fact that only wood, not a single nail, was used in the construction of the cell. Painter Firuz has left great signs of the Tabriz miniature school while applying scenes from Nizam Genjavi's Seven Beauties, Khosrow and Shirin, and Layli and Majnun poems on the decorations of the palace. Signs of different religious beliefs are still alive and stay protected in the traditionally Muslim country of Azerbaijan. In the Albanian Christian monument, located in the Gakh region, even today sacrifices are made and prayers are heard. After Islam became the ruling religion in Azerbaijan in the 7th century, the creation of the Islamic material and spiritual monuments started. The Arabs were building Friday mosques as a first task in the countries where they spread Islam. One of those is the Friday Mosque in Shamakh. This monument, built in 744 AD, is the second construction of its kind after the Derbent Friday Mosque. The 46.5 meter long and 17 meter wide mosque has a three-part prayer hall. Each part has its own sanctuary and entrance. There are no analogies in Azerbaijan to the Shamakh Friday Mosque and the Aksu Mosque for their projection. The new project of the civil engineer Ploshko, prepared after the Shamakh earthquake, had an interesting synthesis of the Shamakh architectural traditions belonging to the Islamic school of architecture and those of the West, where the author belonged to. The restoration of the building, which was burned together with the peaceful population of Shamakh, who sought refuge there from the Armenian nationalists in 1915, remains unfinished. Smoke-blackened stones and walls of the prayer hall are signs of that barbarism. The Seven Dome Cemetery, located little away from the Shamakh Friday Mosque, is a material and spiritual example of history. The centuries-long history of Nakhchivan is a sign of the rich and multi-character culture of this land. The Ashabu Kef, place of pilgrimage, information about which can be found also in the Quran and whose name from the Arabic means those living in the cave, is visited by a number of people from many nations. The Momuna Khatun tomb one of the gentlest compositions not only in Azerbaijan, but also in Islamic countries. As well as the Yusuf Kuseyroğlu tomb, are the new stage in memorial architecture for their very gentle features and 8-phase stature design. Memorial monuments on the Guru Khatun, Garabakhla tomb, the other examples of the Nakhchivan monumental architecture, more vividly represent artistry and symbolism. The architectural school, based on the depth of thought, the gentleness of taste, comprehensive mathematical knowledge and rich experience, differentiates monuments of the Nakhchivani architects from each other. Many more religious monuments like Bibi Heybet Mosque, which represent great examples of the religious Muslim architecture, have been subject to the total aggression after the 1920s. Coming to the political power of the Bolsheviks, who based their ideology on the principles of atheism, gave a mass character to the persecutions against the Islamic religion, Islamic culture, and Islamic values. Nevertheless, restrictions and persecutions could not destroy the grandiose monument, people's conscience, morality, and deeply rooted beliefs. Bibi Heybet Mosque, the sacred worship place both in Azerbaijan and the Middle East, was built by Shirvanshah Farrukhzad II in 1281 and 82. This Islamic monument of the architect Mahmud ibn Sayyad is the seventh among the Ehlibeit graves of the Prophet Muhammad's family line, after Mecca, Medina, Najaf, Karbala, Kazimei, and Samira. The three-dome tomb and 20-meter-high minaret were constructed in honor of the daughter of the 7th Imam Muzay Kazim and his 3 grandchildren. After the independence of the Azerbaijani state was restored under the personal patronage of the late President Heydar Aliyev, Bibi Heybet Mosque was reconstructed and as a complex site returned to the people. This care is directed not only to Islamic monuments, but also to the worship sites of people belonging to different beliefs. Religious tolerance, religious freedom, and freedom of conscience, regardless of language, religious and ethnic adherence, are protected by the law in Azerbaijan. Unfortunately, a large part of Azerbaijani material and spiritual cultural monuments cannot be observed because they are located in the occupied areas. The castle walls of the Gofrar Agha Mosque in Shusha, Kochari Khorgans, Takhlar, Guruchay, Meney Tepe, Shomu Tepe, Zerger Tepe archaeological monuments, Aghdere Temple, the Orkhan Church in the Lachin district, the Amaras Monastery in Khojavand, Ganzasar Church, turned into a weapon storage by Armenians, Neolith and Bronze Era cromlechs in Khankendi, and rock paintings in Kelbejer. In this area, 22 museums and 4 photo galleries with all exhibitions, 500 historic architectural and more than 100 archaeological monuments, 808 club buildings, a 4.5 million archive of books, 927 libraries, 85 music schools, 10 cultural and recreational parks, and up to 100,000 historic exhibition items, according to the International Council of Museums. On the unoccupied Azerbaijani territories, religious architectural monuments, which suffered from the Bolshevik aggression, are under the care of the state, and restoration works are ongoing.
Gel boyansın nura zulme, gitsin megami şehadet. Zindalım sitemle cahan, ey ki aleme zine. Gel boyansın nura zulme, gitsin megami şehadet. Zindalım sitemle cahan, ya Hüccetullah.
Head of State Ilham Aliyev, who reflects the interests of the citizens, demonstrate how important people's freedoms and democracy are through personal examples and daily activities. One of the strategies of the new century is linked to the religious revolution. While social injustice is sent to the archive of history, complete fulfillment of these moral necessities is also accompanied with restoration of the religious monuments in Azerbaijan. As a result of this care, existing Islamic cultural monuments are being integrated into the material and spiritual cultural heritage of all mankind. The beginning of the new millennium is also marked by the restoration of the Silk Road. Azerbaijan is already qualitatively stepping up to a higher stage. The restoration of the Silk Road in the beginning of the third millennium brings tendencies of universality of life and the strategy of cultural nationalism being in the global service closer to reality. Azerbaijan, being one of the first cradles of civilization and universal religions, and a crossroad location for the geopolitical and economic interests of the superpowers, is eager to step into the eternal road with a modern economy, principles of statehood, tolerance, democracy, and development of its human resources. Azerbaijan, one of the strong pillars of the ancient East's fundamental science, great culture and economy, takes the eternal road, linking the millennia with strong belief, healthy hope, and confidence in the future. Azerbaijan, the eternal road. Director Igbal Mammadaliyev. Screenwriters Sudaba, Agabalayeva, Tofig Mammadov. Camera Kochari Mammadov, Orkhan Dadashov. Editor Igbal Mammadaliyev. Narrated by Attila Altman. Advisor Orkhan Aliyev. Executive Producer Kamil Mammadov. Producer Tofig Mammadov. More comprehensive information about the barbarism of Armenians on the occupied territories and the damage to Azerbaijani culture can be found in www.azmonuments.net.